All right, well, thank you, everybody, for coming here and listening to our stories and listening to my story. When Jeff first invited me to come here to speak, it took a long time, actually, for me to agree.
A long time.
A really long time. So I didn't think I had a story to share. I mean, I'm listening to some of the speakers, and some people had too many stories. They didn't know what they were going to share. I had the exact opposite problem that I think many people do. They don't think they have anything interesting to say, or that it's worthwhile, or that it's not unique. But I finally dove in, and I said, yeah, I'll speak, without even knowing what I was going to say. So here I am, and I thank you for letting me share part of my ongoing story with you. And before I start, because this may end up on the interwebs at some point, and my kids may Google it down the road, this is my story. This is not about my husband. This is not about my kids. And to my two beautiful children, you did not do this to me. I do not regret anything. I would not go back and change course. Now, I know one of the speakers yesterday mentioned the frog in the boiling water analogy, and that's the best way I can describe what happened. Is there's the frog, right? Put a frog into boiling water, it's going to jump out, knowing it's a fatal situation. But put that same frog into comfortable water and slowly but consistently raise the temperature, it's not going to notice until it's too late. Same thing happened to me, but things didn't get hot. Things got numb. So my husband and I, we connected on an intellectual level when we first met. We clicked, but there was never that passion that some people have. And he kind of compared it to a roller coaster. You know, does a relationship need that passion? That's debatable. But we didn't have enough of that to get up over that first hill. There wasn't that euphoria. So we kind of stayed flat. And even before we got married, our sex life was waning. By the time I had my first daughter, I mean, I knew exactly when the conception happened. We were having sex maybe once a month at that point. And then it was maybe once a season, once or twice a year. And then a year went by, then 2 years went by without that physical connection. We still kissed hello, we still kissed goodbye, because I wanted my kids to see a healthy relationship. Didn't want my kids to come from a broken home, be the children of divorce, and that honestly still kills me to this day. The funny thing is, though, we didn't want my kids to come from a broken home, like it wasn't broken. Because it was definitely not unbroken. And then I started connecting with people online. I kind of found my people. I started going out again, feeling little bits of color. And I started to be missed if I wasn't somewhere. Hey, Jackie, yo, why aren't you here? And I didn't realize I hadn't been missed for a really long time. And I didn't realize that my life had gone gray, because I hadn't had that color for so long. So it was only in feeling that color that gray became known. It was only in feeling that joy again that the numb was made aware. As a friend put it, it was kind of like swimming, like right below the surface. You know, you kind of can see the world, but you're not part of it. There's that film between you and what's going on. So I started going out more, connected with my friends. Don't cry, Jody. And I thought, I kind of resigned myself to the fact that, okay, this is my life, right? Again, worst case scenario is breaking up the house, right? So I'll go out, and that'll be my color. And I was okay with that for a bit. Thought, yeah, that's fine. And people would say to me, when they saw me with my husband, they're like, your light is just gone. Like, you don't shine. And it was the same with him, too. Like, it's not, again, he didn't do this to me. This was just our dynamic. So I realized that my kids were getting a gray, dim mom, because that's how I was at home. And another good friend said to me, is the relationship you have now the one you want your kids to have when they grow up? Throat punch. Kick in the gut. Absolutely not. And I realized in that moment, that's what we were modeling. And I realized that staying together was probably more detrimental, not to just me, but to my kids. So now all of a sudden, that decision didn't look okay anymore. So my husband and I set a date for the talk. And we had the talk. And the talk took about 15 minutes. We talked. We were both seemed on the same page. And then we looked at each other, want to watch a movie? So we did. We decided that we were going to end our 10-year marriage, and we watched a movie. And he's found his color. We're still good friends, and we're just better that way. We had become roommates, not even roommates. We were coexisting. So now I have my color. Now, the interesting thing, though, when you've become numb, is that there's a process of that freezing wearing off. Anybody been to the dentist? Right? So not only now am I feeling those joys, but along with that comes the pain. And that's why we retreat to numb, right? Is to avoid that pain. But in retreating to numb, you can't just numb the pain. You numb the joy. So is it worth it? In those moments of blinding pain, the numb sure seems like a good alternative. But then I remember that also takes my color. So as much as the numb kind of looks and seduces and calls back, I'm determined not to go back there again. To live in that euphoric joys, embrace that blinding pain at the same time. And now the interesting thing about this story, my journey to becoming re-singled, and a shout out to Lee Block for that term. I think it's perfect, actually, becoming re-singled. Sounds a little bit better, right, than divorce or breakup, like it's a bad thing. So I've been sharing my story online and exposing myself figuratively. And literally. Yeah, if you do go to my blog, there is a naked picture of Jacki on my blog. Because I was... Because in writing that post about the story I just shared to you, I was looking for the perfect picture, and there wasn't one. Because I had left a shell exposed to the world, and I couldn't find one, so I took a picture of myself exposed, and not full frontal or anything like that, so don't be disappointed if you go to my blog. But in sharing the story, like I said at the beginning, we don't think we have stories to share because they're not unique, and who cares, right? This is me, it's my little world. When I write my posts that are just kind of like, la, 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 those aren't the ones that get the hits. The ones that I write for me, and really, those ones I write for me. It's a cathartic process. Those are the ones that people connect to. Those are the ones that get the comments. And it's not just the comments that are online, it's the DMs. And there was one specific comment that I got on that post from a friend, and she said, when I was little, the exact same thing happened to my parents. And they split up, and it was the best thing they could have done. And now she's a grown woman, and she said, but I didn't understand it until I read your post. And that one comment made it all worthwhile. Again, I do it for me, but helping one person on that level is amazing. And I know you guys all know that because you're here. And if we can get people to understand that and embrace it and just Be vulnerable. It's going to be an amazing place. All right, thank you for letting me share my story.